You used to bounce back so easily. After a bad night of sleep, you'd wake up feeling fine by morning. After a tough workout, your muscles were ready again within 48 hours. After a stressful week, your body reset itself like nothing had happened. Then somewhere quietly, without announcement, without a single dramatic moment, that stopped being true. And you called it aging? You accepted it. You moved on. But aging is not the mechanism. Aging is the label we put on something far more specific. A cascade of biological changes that begins in your cells, spreads through your hormones, reaches your muscles, your brain, your immune system, and your sleep architecture, and fundamentally alters how your body manages, allocates, and restores its own resources. You felt the result, but you never learned what was actually happening. That changes right now. It begins at the cellular level, and it begins earlier than you think. Deep inside every cell in your body, there's a biological clock, not a metaphor, a real, measurable structure called a telomere. Here's exactly what's happening inside you. It begins at the cellular level. It begins earlier than you think. Deep inside every cell in your body, there is a biological clock, not a metaphor, a real, measurable structure called a telomere. Telomeres sit at the end of every chromosome in your body like protective caps. Every time a cell divides, those caps shorten slightly. This is normal. This is by design. But here's what changes after 30. In your late 20s, your body produces an enzyme called telomerase. This enzyme partially rebuilds telomere ends between cell divisions. The repair keeps pace with the wear. System runs at full capacity. In your early 30s, telomeres production begins to decline. Not dramatically, not all at once, but consistently, measurably, year by year. Research shows that by age 35, cellular repair efficiency has decreased by approximately 25% from its peak. By age 40, that figure approaches 40%. The cells are still dividing. The repair is still happening. But the gap between wear and recovery is widening. And everything you feel begins in that gap. When you were 22 and you slept badly, your cells had enough repair capacity to compensate. The mitochondria inside each cell, the structures that produce your energy, could run at reduced efficiency. For one night and fully restore by the next morning. In your mid-30s, that same bad night creates a deficit. Your repair system can no longer fully close in 24 hours. You feel this as lingering tiredness. As mornings that take longer to start, it's energy that used to be automatic, now requiring effort to reach. This is not weakness. This is not laziness. This is a cellular repair system operating at a different efficiency level than it was designed to run at its peak. And your body feels every percentage point of that difference. Think about the last time you felt genuinely, completely restored. Not just rested enough, fully restored, the way you used to feel automatically. When was that? Your conscious mind may have stopped expecting it, right? But your cells still remembered the difference. Here's where it gets deeper, and this is the part that almost nobody connects. Your cellular repair system doesn't operate in isolation. It runs inside a hormonal environment, and that environment begins shifting at exactly the same moment your cellular repair efficiency starts to decline. In your 20s, your body releases growth hormone in concentrated pulses during deep sleep. These pulses trigger a cascade of repair operations throughout your entire system. Muscle fiber rebuilding, collagen synthesis, immune cell production, neural pathway consolidation. The entire architecture of your biological recovery runs on these pulses. Research shows that by age 30, growth hormone pulse amplitude has decreased by approximately 15% from its peak. By age 35, that figure reaches 25%. By age 40, studies tracking growth hormone levels across large populations show reductions of between 30 and 40%. This is not a malfunction. This is your body running exactly the program it was designed to run across a human lifespan. But what does that 30% reduction actually mean inside your body during sleep? When your growth hormone pulses were at full strength, your muscle fibers could complete a full repair cycle, breaking down damaged protein, clearing cellular debris, rebuilding stronger fiber within approximately 48 hours of significant physical effort. At 30% reduced pulse amplitude, that same repair cycle takes between 60 and 72 hours. You used to recover from a hard workout in 2 days. Now it takes 3. You used to bounce back from a physically demanding week over a single weekend. Now it takes longer. And when you don't give your body that time, when you push back into effort before the repair cycle has completed, you begin accumulating a biological debt that compounds quietly over days, weeks, and months. Studies show that individuals who consistently underestimate their recovery needs after 35 show measurably higher baseline inflammatory markers within 8 weeks compared to those who adjust their recovery windows. Not because they worked harder, it's because they worked on a timeline their biology was no longer designed to support. This is not a limitation. This is information. Has anyone ever told you that needing more recovery time as you get older means something is wrong with you? That belief that the timeline your body now needs is a sign of decline rather than a different biological operating system is exactly the misunderstanding that keeps most people working against their own recovery instead of with it. Now here's where this connects directly to what you feel every single day. Your muscles, your brain, your immune system, and your sleep architecture all run on the same hormonal and cellular foundation. When that foundation shifts after 30, every system built on top of it shifts with it. Muscle fiber density in your tissue reaches its peak in your mid-20s. After 30, a process called sarcopenia begins. Not the dramatic muscle loss most people associate with old age. A subtle, gradual shift in the ratio of fast-twitch to slow-twitch muscle fibers. Research shows that without specific intervention, the average person loses approximately 3 to 5% of muscle fiber density per decade after 30. By 40, that loss becomes measurable in functional terms. Not in how much you can lift, in how quickly your muscles fatigue, and how long they need to fully restore. Your brain's recovery follows a parallel track. Your prefrontal cortex, responsible for focus, decision-making, and cognitive endurance relies on the same overnight repair processes as your muscle tissue. Studies tracking cognitive performance across age groups show that sustained mental effort produces measurably greater neural fatigue after 35 than at 25. Not because the brain became less capable, because the repair processes restoring it are running at lower efficiency. By week 4 of consistently insufficient recovery, physical, cognitive, or both, baseline cortisol levels begin to rise. Cortisol is your body's primary stress management hormone. At healthy levels, it keeps you alert, focused, and energized. At chronically elevated levels, it begins to suppress the very repair processes your body depends on to restore itself. This is the cycle most people over 30 are unknowingly running. Insufficient recovery gives cortisol rises, gives repair is suppressed, gives slower recovery, gives more accumulated fatigue, gives the feeling that your body simply doesn't work the way it used to. It does work the way it used to. Works differently now. Different requires a different response. When recovery inputs are adjusted, sleep quality, movement timing, nutritional support for cellular repair, research shows measurable improvements in recovery speed. Baseline energy and inflammatory marker levels across all age groups within 8 weeks. Your biology responds to every condition you create for it. Every time, without exception. This is the part that changes how you see yourself. Permanently. Every time you pushed through exhaustion after 30 and told yourself you were just getting older. Every time your recovery took longer than expected and you interpreted it as decline. Every time your body needed more time, more sleep, more rest than you thought it should, and you judged yourself for needing it. None of that was weakness. None of it. That was your biology communicating a change in its operating requirements in the only language it has. It's the language of sensation, the language of fatigue. It's the felt experience of a system running on a different timeline than the one you were used to. Elite performers who operate at the highest levels past 35 are not defying their biology. Research consistently shows they experience exactly the same hormonal and cellular shifts as everyone else. The difference is this: they have built their recovery architecture around what their biology actually needs at that stage, not what it needed a decade earlier. The difference between a body that feels like it's declining after 30 and a body that feels like it's operating at its genuine capacity is not genetics. It is not luck. It is the precision with which recovery inputs match the biological requirements of a system that has shifted its operating parameters. Your body didn't stop recovering. It changed how it recovers. By the time you finish watching this video, your body will have already completed thousands of cellular repair operations. Quietly, precisely, on your behalf, without asking whether you understood what it was doing. The question was never whether your body could still recover. The question was always whether you understood the system well enough to work with it. Now you do. Your body didn't stop recovering at 30, it changed how it recovers. Cellular repair efficiency shifted. Growth hormone pulses adjusted. Recovery timelines extended. Biological requirements changed. Nobody told you. Nobody explained that the exhaustion that wouldn't lift was a cellular repair gap, not a character flaw. Nobody told you that needing an extra day of recovery wasn't weakness. It was a growth hormone cycle running at a different amplitude. Nobody made the connection. Your biology was running a different program. You were still expecting the output of the old one. Every morning, you woke up feeling like you should have recovered more. Every workout that took longer to bounce back from. Every week that left a residue your weekend couldn't fully clear. Your body was communicating the change in the only language it knows. Oh, you have the translation. Your recovery system is not broken. It never was. It simply changed. Precisely, measurably, for specific biological reasons that have nothing to do with your strength, your discipline, or your capacity. It was always biology. Running the program it was built to run, at every age, without exception. And what's running underneath this system? The mechanism connecting your recovery. Your hormones, your cellular architecture, something most people never think to connect to any of it, that one changes everything.